Recording will be about. So if you don't want to be on the recording, please do turn your cameras off. Okay, welcome everybody. Good evening. Welcome to this presentation this evening on making our streets safer to run on. It's part of the Own the Night campaign that Welsh Athletics are running around women's safety in running during the winter, but all year round really. I'm going to press on to the next slide and we're going to play, hopefully a lot of you will have seen the campaign video, but we're very, very proud of it. And we thought it would be a nice way to kind of set the scene before we go into it. So please indulge me whilst I just play it for a couple of minutes. And hopefully we did just test the sound. It did work. So hopefully, Suze, give me a thumbs up that you can hear it when it's.
There's something magical about running at night. The city quiets, the streets belong to you. Every breath sharper, every stride alive. But for many women, the beauty comes with fear. A mental list of things you must do to keep yourself safe before even lacing up your trainers. "93% of women have experienced some form of public sexual harassment while running. Almost 3/4 change their behaviour in winter, choosing well-lit routes, avoiding certain areas, glancing behind them just to feel safe. This shouldn't be normal. Running should never come with fear. So how do we change it? By being the light? By choosing respect? By calling out bad behaviour? By being part of the solution? Because running at night should only ever be beautiful.
So a pretty powerful video that I hope sets the scene and is probably quite familiar for a lot of us on the call. I guess just a bit of background behind the campaign. We're really keen that this raises awareness, but also,
There's something
but also we want to educate. We want to ensure that our allies, that our male peers and supporters can also support in this space as well. And that's a key theme throughout this campaign. Really, is that you know. We don't want to teach women how to suck eggs. We know what the issues are. We know it's a wider societal piece. But hopefully by doing some of the work we're doing throughout this campaign, we can start to make some steps in the right direction. We can start to change the conversation. We can start that conversation with people. And I mean, you will have seen just in that video then some of the key facts. Almost 3/4 of women in the UK change their outdoor activity routines during the winter, which has increased by 26% on the previous year. 1 in 4 take well-lit routes and almost 1/4 avoid certain areas altogether. And 1 in 5 glance behind them to make sure that they're not being followed. And in a more recent survey done by Our Streets Now, 93% of women have experienced public sexual harassment whilst running. That needs to change. We need to start changing those stats. We want to see those stats coming down. And we've been delighted to work with the police forces across Wales with some of this work. And you can see their badges were all on the video in support of this campaign. And it's great that we've got the support of the local police forces across Wales in this space. And particularly that's what we'll be talking through this evening. So I guess we're going to start with some apps and technology that you can use to help support yourself to feel more confident to go out and to feel safer running. Most of them you've probably heard of. I don't think there'll be too many that are new, but hopefully it's just a case of, I guess, highlighting some of the features you might not be aware of. So I'll kind of start and then Suze is perhaps going to jump in with some of them as well. So the first one we've got up there is Route Buddies. So they're a local Welsh organisation that are they've developed an app for you to find other people to go running with. So if you're not a member of a group, or you're in somewhere new, you can look on the app and find other groups or other people that are safe to go running with. They've got some really good SOS features on there, and some security features built in as well to help keep you safe. So that's one worth looking at. We will be doing a webinar with Route Buddies at the end of the month to kind of talk through how the app works and how you can use that as a running group or as an individual. The other one, I'm sure nobody on this call has not heard of Strava. I think we'd all be living under a rock if we've not heard of Strava. And we're perhaps familiar with some of those safety features that are already available on Strava, but just to share for everybody's kind of knowledge, you can use the beacon feature, so you can share your live location with a trusted emergency contact, so they can see where you are on your run, and alert somebody if things, if you've not moved for quite a long time or something seems to have happened, that can track your location. One of the things that I certainly wasn't aware of until Suze and I started doing some of these talks around running clubs in Gwent was the flyby mode. So some of you may have seen when you go for a run, particularly if you're doing a run, say a big run, a race, I don't know, Cardiff Half or a 10K or something where there's lots of people participating, you quite often will see at the end of your run that you've ran with so and so and so and so and or so many other people. And I never really understood what that meant, but it's the Strava flyby feature. So if you run past somebody on your run or are shown to be running a section at the same time as somebody, you're then findable or searchable on Strava, because you'll come up in their kind of their feeds, and it's just worth checking in your Strava accounts that the default of that is to set the flyby to off so that people can't find you, because it can be quite uncomfortable if somebody starts following you on Strava that you have no idea who they are. But quite often it's because they've maybe come across you in that way. So it's worth checking that feature in Strava, but also checking your privacy settings as well, and whether your profile is private or not. Many of you will know as well that you can hide your routes on Strava. So you can either hide the whole route from everybody, or you can hide your start and finish routes. So that's particularly helpful if you're regularly running from the same place, i.e. your house. People then can't pinpoint where your address is. But it also allows you that, I guess, peace of mind that people can't work out where you are when you're finishing and starting your runs. Most of us will appreciate that when we're running, we will try and vary our routes. Particularly in the winter, people tend to do it a little bit more because it feels safer. If there was anybody watching you, for example, at least you know that your route isn't predictable if you're varying it regularly. The other thing you can do with Strava, which is quite a useful thing, is you can look at the heat maps of where regular running routes are. So for me, that's been quite useful. If I'm working away somewhere or I'm in an unknown area, I quite often look at the heat map to see, oh, well, where do other local runners run regularly in this area? Because that's usually quite a safe bet, but that's probably also a safe running route. So it's worth looking at the heat map for that as well. And you can also obviously use Google Maps as well when you're somewhere unfamiliar to look at the street view and see, well, does it look like the street lighting there? Is that a good route to run on? So that's probably all to kind of go on Strava. Suze, have I missed anything on Strava? Do you want to go over the Holly Guard and Garmin features? She's just unmuting. You're still on mute, Suze. Do you want me to? Oh,
right.
there you go.
Am I there?
Yeah, you're there.
Right. Okay. Right. Sorry about that, everyone. Technology, because I'm going off my phone at the moment. First of all, just quickly to say it's fantastic seeing so many people that have signed up to this evening. It's really great for myself and Hannah. you know, and if I do have to disappear, unfortunately, I am on duty tonight on an overtime shift, and my radio is in the background. So if anything does happen and I disappear, apologies for that. But yeah, so going back to the apps in regards to the Hollyguard app, I promote this, or have promoted this pretty much at every talk that I've done. It's come unfortunately from a sad event where a dad who created it lost his daughter through a stalking incident, and she was sadly killed. So from that, he has created this app, and it really is something that's really, really good. It responds to you shaking your phone, and if you feel that you're in danger, and it will also automatically start recording and sending that recording or voice recording to the people that you've named in your contacts on there. I'm not a whiz with apps, you know, and in regards to the same with the flyby Strava, that was brought up by a lady who came to the very first talk that I did as a sort of a taster session, and she sort of made us aware of that, and that's something that I've spread out sort of all the way through the talks. Is about just knowing what your apps do, knowing what your phone does, knowing what your watch does, because if you're like me, I'm like, oh, shiny new things. And then sometimes I don't know exactly how they work fully, and those things can really, really assist you and benefit you. There are people who will like to go out without their phone, or say that they want to get out to have some time, some downtime away from technology and things like that. What I say is that, you know, we're not just talking about sort of, you know, safety while you're running, in the way of that something may happen to you from somebody else, but you could take a trip, you know, you could get knocked over, any of those things. And what I say is actually take your phone with you, but if you want to put it in flight mode while you're out, so that you're not getting notifications off other people, and you know, you're still having that headspace, but you've still got those things that will activate, and you know, get to know what will activate, and what you can do with them. Have a look at the Hollyguard app, and you know, download it onto your phone. There's a free version and there's a version that you can pay for, and I would imagine the version that you pay for does more things, but the one that is free also does sufficient things as well. So please have a look at it, and one day I'm hoping that we can have the gentleman who has created the Hollyguard app to maybe come and join us on one of these talks, and to really give sort of a bit of an in-depth on it, and how it works, and that sort of thing. In regards to Garmin's, again, they have got safety features on them where they've got a detection mode if you fall over or if something happens. I always say it's normally when I run a bit faster than normal. Mine used to set off and I'd have to try and stop it. But, you know, get those things set up on there. They are there to benefit you. They're not there for people to track you. You know, they're there for you if you need them for any circumstance, really. So really get to know, you know, we're living in a world now of technology, you know, and we're all keeping up with the times on things, and you know, it's really good to get to know these things in and out, and what they can do for you, and how they can help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Susan. I think the other thing with Garmin is just to make sure, if you're using the Garmin Connect profile, that you can either set your activities to private on there. So I know for myself, I've always just linked it to my Strava, and I don't really look at the Garmin Connect side of things. But that's something you can do as well to further protect yourself. The other ones we've got on there, WhatsApp, so you can share your live location. A lot of people may be aware of that one, but you can share your live location for a set amount of time with a certain contact. So that's another thing you can do whilst you're out running, if that helps you to feel a little bit safer. Similarly with the Find My iPhone function in iPhones, you can do a similar thing with that. And then Life 360, those of you that have maybe got teenagers or children that are using smartphones, you might have this feature. It's this app, it's a family focused app, so that you can basically make sure you know where your family are and where they're located at certain times. So it's another option that you can use if that's something you've already got, to help kind of find where people are and to feel a little bit safer. I think we'll go on, Suze.
Just before we skip on that, and this is
Yeah.
just sort of my police side coming out now, and I know we've got lots of ladies on here, and it's not just about the running side of things, but I just want to put out there that in regards to things like these apps and devices and things like that, and them being able to tell people where you are and things like that. On the reverse side of it, if there was anybody on this call who was going to be fleeing from domestic violence at any point, please, again, know your apps and make sure that you switch all those things off. Anything that you've put on to kind of protect yourself during runs and things like that. If there is anybody that is looking to leave somebody or that would need to go into a refuge or anything like that, please make sure on the other side of it, you know your apps and things so that you know what you need to turn off so that you can't be found or you can't be traced. And I know that sounds a bit dark, but because we're asking people to turn all these things on, there are going to be ladies out there that may be dealing with those things and then may need to flee domestic violence, and we want you to know that, to make sure that you turn all those things off, then to make sure that you're not going to be able to be tracked or located or anything like that. So sorry for the dark side of it, but I just want to put that out there as well to make sure that people know the other side of it.
Yeah, absolutely, Suze. It's a really good point. Thank you. So just before I'm going to pass back to Suze to kind of cover off this one of the things that I think I've really taken from the many talks that Suze has delivered across Gwen and the ones I've joined her with and ones that we've been doing in South Wales as well, is women, we're very good at shrugging things off and saying, oh, it was only someone shouting out a window at me. It was only this. I'm not going to report it. I don't want to waste police time. It's not for, I don't want to get them involved. It was all right. Nothing really happened. And I think what I was really struck by through doing these talks with Suze is people feeling more confident that they can report these things in. So I'll let Suze kind of go over this a little bit and talk about why it is important for us to report things in.
Yeah, and absolutely. And there was a young lady at the Senedd when we were at the Senedd a couple of nights ago, and something that she said stuck with me and was one of the reasons why I wanted to go out and speak to people. And she said that there's a lot of stuff around reporting the bigger things, around sexual violence, around domestic violence. And if people are worried about reporting the bigger things, then, they're really not going to want to report the smaller things. But and this was one of the things that I kept seeing as a pattern when I was talking to friends in my run circle, was that things had happened, but they didn't report things. And my first thing would be, well, have you reported it to the police? Or, and I'd be given advice. And what I wanted from these talks more than anything was to be able to say that we are here, the police are here, Gwent Police particularly, because that's where which force I represent. We do want to hear from you. We are listening. And the big thing that I want to get across is that if we don't know that something is happening, then we can't fix it. And we can't, do anything about it. So, there's lots of things and especially the running community. We're all, we're all like they were at all times of the day and night. We are eyes and ears, and there's so many things that we see, so many things that we notice, so many things that we clock. Drug dealing, antisocial behaviour, all sorts of things. And if we can start feeding them back to our neighbourhood policing teams, and as you know, I've brought PCSOs along to some of my talks and things like that to introduce them to their particular areas. Then we can start doing something about it. We can start going out and putting foot patrols in the areas where the antisocial behaviour seems to be quite high. But at the same time, there were a few concerns about people worrying that we would be going and addressing these issues, but we would be saying that it was runners that were making the complaints, is completely confidential. All we would be doing is putting PCSOs or PCs in areas on particular hotspots, as we call it, and we would talk to them, just that we were there doing our job. It wouldn't be that it's come from runners or anything like that. So please, especially in Gwent, if you are reporting anything, then know that it would be confidential. So, because what it does as well is that if we've got increased reporting, it highlights locations that need more immediate attention. So at the moment, I'm in uniform. I'm a detective. I don't wear a uniform, but on my rest days, I come and do overtime on antisocial behaviour hotspots because I've got a bit of a passion for it, and it all relates to a lot of this as well. And I find that if I can be out there doing a bit of overtime on those antisocial behaviour areas, I can actually talk to some of those people myself, and get the message across to them. And from one of the talks that we did, there was a couple of people who gave some intelligence to some of the PCSOs that had come along, and that resulted in some arrests being made. So some really positive stuff. So in your local area, if we're talking about Gwent Police, for Gwent Police, we have the website. So you can go onto your local area and it will show you your neighbourhood policing team in your local area, and you can email them with concerns, for things that you have. There's also 101, but we all know how long it is when you go through to 101 to try and get through. But for Gwent Police, and I believe South Wales Police as well, we have Facebook Messenger. So we have sort of moved a bit with the times. So, and you will get an automatic reply back from them, but then somebody will contact you after that as well and ask for some more details on things. Okay. So it isn't just about hanging on the line for 20-30 minutes on 101 and then thinking, actually, is it even worth reporting it or anything like that? There are things that you can do. Also, as a first port of call, if something's happening within the run club when you're on a run night, speak to the safeguarding officer, and then they can potentially build a report up and then put that through to the police if they feel that that's where it needs to come through to. So there's lots of things that we can do now rather than 101. But please, know that we're not doing this because there are issues in the area. We are doing this because we want to give people confidence to report things, so that we can tackle things if they are happening, especially when you're out on runs and especially during the winter months, because we don't want to have any women feeling like they can't go out running of an evening, or any time of the day or night, really. But what we can't solve everything, and I can't say, I don't think Gwent Police would be very happy if I said we could wave a magic wand and we're going to fix everything in one night. But what we would like to be able to do is, if we know that there are issues in areas, that we can get out there and we can start tackling that. So I hope some of that made sense and I wasn't babbling too much.
No,
People
that was
who know,
perfect,
people who are
Sue.
on this chat who know me know that I'm a babbler. So So, and I think then so I've covered both slides there together,
Yeah.
really.
The only thing to add, Suze, is just to highlight the street safe. So there's a
Oh
QR
yes, sorry,
code
because
up on your
in
screen
Gwent
now.
Police we don't have street safe. But what you can do is, again, get to know the local councillors in the local areas. I know that the local councillor for Newport, where I'm currently policing, he came along to the Senate the other night, so was very supportive, and they've been working on getting the street lights on for later in the evenings. And a lady again at the Senate made a really good point a few days ago, where she said that the local council is saying they haven't got enough money to keep the street lights on for longer so that they can run safely, but they had the money for new flood lights for the football pitch for the men. So you know, we kind of need to kind of start reversing a little bit of that, so it's a little bit fairer. You know, getting open spaces, you know, safe open spaces and things like that. So and hopefully this is going to be the start of all of that.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that we've just been creating this last week at Welsh Athletics is a template letter for individuals and clubs and groups to send to their local councillors, to their local MS members to ask for the better street lighting in their area, or to ask for other things. I think one of the things that came across from Plaid Cymru, who were speaking at our event last week, was get onto those local things and push them, because that's the way that things get then talked about in the government, in Welsh government. So
Yeah.
we'll be sending information out on that shortly to everybody that's interested.
And
Street safe. Go on, Suze.
God, sorry, no, you're going. Sorry,
I was
I
just going to say, street safe is also, I think, Gwent are the unique ones. I think the other three forces in Wales are using it, so you can use that to identify any concerns around local areas, whether that's damaged street areas, other areas of concerns in your local area. Andy and I were doing a talk not so long ago in Penarth, and there was an area that the runners identified there that has it's great for running along, but the street lighting's terrible, and it doesn't feel particularly safe, but it's a regular route that a lot of runners use. So Andy from South Wales Police was saying, well, log that on Street Safe, because then we can build a map of these areas that need some extra support. So please do that. You can also use that to report in any kind of harassment, verbal or otherwise, through that function as well. Sorry, Suze, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so and I was just going to say that in regards to the police side of things and the neighbourhood policing side, I'm going to be giving this presentation to the sergeants, inspectors, the PCSOs and the ward managers for Gwent Police. So they're going to be upon these things. So when people go and chat to them about it or send an email, they're going to know that it's all come off the back of you know, the Own the Night stuff, which, you know, means that hopefully it will give you more confidence to email in about things as well. And I do sort of say a little joke, you know, when I'm doing the presentations, and I say, you know, we don't want you going around, you know, we're not asking you to go around with a notepad and pen and literally write down everything that you're seeing, you know, every bit of drug dealing, things like that, because you've got to keep yourself safe as well. And also, you know, your running is your time for your headspace and things like that. And, you know, we're not asking you to be out there and all being undercover police officers for us. So and then sort of, you know, bumping into a PCSO and saying, right, I've got 42 pages of crimes that that I've seen happening and I want to report them all. You know, but what we're saying is if there are continued things of concern, then please get them into us and let us know about them. And that, you know, this hasn't started because there are problems in our areas, or, you know, significant problems in our areas in regards to things with women. It is about prevention is better than cure, and you know, and it's about taking back, you know, the confidence and the like, you know, the girl power of, you know, knowing that we can get out there and we can run and we can do what, you know, what we want to do, and, you know, the men can sod off. Sorry, 20 men on you. Sorry, bear with me. I'm just going to mute because my sergeant has just come in, so bear with me. Hannah, if you want to take over.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Suze. I think just to kind of make it really clear, we're working with all 4 police forces in Wales on this campaign, and they're all keen to learn. So the stuff that Suze has just mentioned about sharing this presentation with her neighbourhood teams and things, that'll be something that should hopefully be replicated across all forces. So no matter where you are in Wales, I know we've got a really good geographical spread this evening. There will be ways you can get involved and have some support. Just very quickly, and this is only applicable for those that are living in the South Wales police area at the moment, they've created a survey called the Jog On survey. So it's available in Welsh and in English. And what they're trying to do is requesting that everybody that runs can have a go at filling out this really short survey, and it helps to build a picture of what's happening in the South Wales area. That data and insight then is going to be used to present to further higher up people in the police around why we need to be focusing more on this. So if anybody is able to, that lives in the South Wales police area, to complete the survey, that would be fantastic, because the results of that will then also be shared across the other 3 police forces as well, because it's really good insight into what happens to runners when they're running. So we've talking a lot this evening about the female side of it, but I think it's really important that we also look at how male runners and our male peers and supporters can also help in this space, because I know quite often women know what happens to them and how they feel, and I think sometimes it's just a lack of knowledge perhaps for men, that they don't realise sometimes the things that go through a female's head before they go out running. That sort of mental checklist of things that we go through, you know, have I told someone where I'm going? Am I running with someone? Have I got my phone with me? All these various internal dialogue we have before we even get out of the door, that men sometimes don't have those same worries. So we're really conscious with this campaign that we're giving some solutions, and we're giving some ideas of how men can support as well, because you're really key in this. I think we've got up on the screen there, you don't have to be the problem to be part of the solution. You can still help support the females in your lives, whether that's a friend, wife, girlfriend, daughter, sister, whatever it is, to feel a little bit safer. So some of the things that we've kind of put on the screen there, you know, giving some space if you're running up towards a female runner, either pass wide, cross the road if you can, if you're able to do so, but just be a little bit mindful of, it can be quite intimidating if you're running and someone comes up behind you and they pass quite close, and that's intimidating for anybody, not just females. And I think that's what I'm certainly keen for with this, the Be the Light section, is that men feel vulnerable as well. It's not unique to women, but these are some of the things that we can all do. A big one for me is supporting and engaging in those uncomfortable conversations. So speaking to other members in your club and talking about, you know, well, have you thought about how it might feel for a woman, or what would your response to this be, or how would you tackle that? We're kind of calling on people to be an ally, call out the bad behaviour. So obviously if it's safe to do so, and we don't ever ask that anybody puts themselves in a dangerous position, but if
I'm
it's
sorry
safe to...
to pop in. I've got to go.
Okay, sorry.
So thank you all. If
Thanks,
there are
Suze.
any questions for anybody that's in Gwent Police area, just pop them in the chat, and Hannah will send me an email
Yeah.
over, and we can hopefully send out an updated answers to your questions in the next couple of days. Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Suze.
Bye. Thanks everybody.
Thank you for your
Bye.
time. But yeah, so challenging that bad behaviour and calling it out if somebody is saying something that's inappropriate or uncomfortable. And also looking at buddying up on runs as well. So a lot of you are attached to some fantastic running groups and clubs across Wales. So many of you will go on group runs anyway. But let's think about when those times when you're perhaps not at a group session, how can you maybe support others to feel safer by going on a smaller buddy up run. So there's probably loads of other things on there, but that's some of the ideas we've kind of written down for people. So we're nearly at the end of the presentation, and we'll I can see there's some questions popping up in the chat, so we'll go through those in a moment. Just to make everyone aware, there's a few other things happening this month now around the campaign. So next Wednesday, there's a webinar being held by Our Streets Now. That webinar starts at 7:30. The QR code on screen takes you to our Welsh Athletics website, where all the information for this campaign is, so you can see all the different ways you can get involved. The 22nd of October will be a webinar around how do you sort of start tackling public sexual harassment within running and exercise. So it's specifically aimed at running clubs and groups. And the ladies that run that are really, really good. So a good one to look at attending. The following Wednesday, then we will have a session with with Route Buddies, who will be delivering something, as I mentioned earlier, around their app and how individuals and groups can use it. And then the big one is Sunday, the 26th of October, which is the night that the clocks go back, which is boo, rubbish. It's always one of the worst nights. We get all those shorter days, don't we? But that is the big one for us, where we want to try and unite all runners across Wales to go out for a run on that evening in solidarity of the cause, to kind of really make a big kind of impact around effectively reclaiming the streets and going out to own the night. So clubs and groups, you can host your own individual group run. You can sign up to that via the QR code as well, so that we want to be able to see how many people we've got engaged in this to really show that impact. So please, if you're planning on doing one or running on your own, even using the hashtag own the night, put something on your social so we can see it. That would be amazing. And there will be 3 events that are being hosted, one in Cardiff, one in Swansea, and one in Colwyn Bay, where we've got a couple of local groups that will be leading those runs, but it's open for anyone to come along, and each of them have got a venue attached to them. So at the end of the run, there's the option to stay and have a drink, have a coffee, chat to other runners about the issues, etc. So I'd really encourage anyone to get involved on that night. Those that are signing up for their own individual group runs will be sending out some information, so please make sure you've signed up, so we can get that information to you. And other than that, thank you so much everybody for attending. I will just stop sharing my screen so I can see you all, because it's always a bit disconcerting when you don't know who you're looking at when you're talking and these things. And I guess we'll open to any questions. I'm just going to have a look what's written in the chat that you guys will all have had a bit of a head start on with me. Yeah, so the Strava beacon, absolutely. So you can send that to your trusted contacts, and something similar available on Garmin. Like we were saying, it's really about getting to know which apps and technology you're using, so you know how to make that work best for you, because there's so many different things out there now. For Dyfed-Powys Police, yes, Viv, we have got some contacts with Dyfed-Powys Police. I'm not sure if there's anyone on the call this evening. They were hoping to join, but I'm not sure if anyone's made it. So we can certainly share those details with you, Viv. Someone's sharing that. So, and similarly with North Wales Police, yeah, so we've got some contacts across the forces that are all supportive of this. So it might be easier for those people if I just drop my email address in the chat. If those of you that want those contacts can just drop me an email, I can then send you that, link you up with the correct people, if that's okay. Harriet and Callum, good question. Does the Strava beacon need to be used on the mobile app, or can you do it from Apple Watch or Garmin? I have a feeling you might need to have your phone with you, but I'm not 100% on that. So that's one I can get back to you on, guys. I have a feeling you need to have your phone with you. Oh, someone's saying, Jessica, she knows her stuff. Jessica, you could be doing this for me. Thank you so much. You can just use your watch. There we go. If you've got the GPS enabled, yeah. Are we going to share all the club group runs on the 26th on your website to help promote them? I will try my very best. At the minute, we're up to about 27 individual runs. So it's just a case of us being able to stay on top of the number of people that are signing up for it and updating the website daily, because unfortunately it'll have to be done manually. More than likely we will do, we will be sending out some social media assets to those that have signed up, so you can promote that yourselves. And it's probably, we might do a post that kind of says these are the groups that have signed up so far, so that we can do it that way. I think if we try to stay on top of everybody that signs up and keep updating that on the website, that might be quite a task. I think my comms team might not be too impressed with me on that one if I ask them to keep doing that every day. So that's probably the easiest way for that one. Are there any other questions from anybody that you can either unmute yourselves and ask, or if anybody wants to put anything in their thing? Sian, do you have any publicity material? Yes, so we should be getting all of the assets available from our marketing agency company very, very shortly. I think we should get them by tomorrow. Um, so as I've got all of your email addresses from signing up, I can easily send and share that information with you. They've created us a pack where clubs can basically, with suggested posts you can do to share the campaign. So it should be really easy in terms of copy and pasting and then putting a few images on your social. So you can share it that way with your members as well. So yeah, absolutely. We're really keen that this campaign lasts longer than just this month, because it's an ongoing thing and we're really keen to support this throughout years to come as well. So my ambition will be that next year we'll have more things happening and there's more ways for people to get involved. I don't want this to just feel like it's a token thing because it's the start of the autumn. I think it needs to be something that is repeated every year. One of the things we will be doing is working with the Sound campaign to look at, well, they've created a resource that's not available yet for sharing because it's not been finalised. But what we're trying to do is get some what we're calling sound run clubs. And basically, it's a bit of a framework for run clubs to use to start conversations in this space, to start looking at how we can help educate, how we can help support. So those of you that are on Instagram, the easiest thing to do would be to look up Sound on Instagram, so SOUND, and you'll very quickly get a good feel of what they're about and what they're trying to do. So that's something that is hopefully going to be coming within the next couple of months. So my ideal would be that clubs can maybe host a sound run club internally once or twice a year, maybe at the start of the autumn, to start these conversations and keep the conversations going and build upon them. So yes, Callum and Harriet, you are more than welcome to bring any lights, some of the stuff that I'll be sending out to those that have signed up. Let's light up Wales, guys. Let's get all the bright lights you've got. There's some really cool running lights out there now. I've seen a lot of people with the jazzy like vest ones that flash lots of different colours. Like absolutely bring that kind of vibe. We want it to feel, I guess, like a party vibe, a fun vibe, although there's the undercurrent of quite a serious thing underneath it. So yeah, please do crack on with that. I'll be at the Cardiff one as well, so I'm really looking forward to meeting some of you there. So I'm not sure who's put this because you've just come up as iPhone. You're in Wrexham. Does anyone know if there's a run plan nearer than Colwyn Bay? You are more than welcome to start a run if you're happy to do so with your running group or club. We struggled a little bit to find a group or club around that area, so we went with one of our registered run groups that we know is in that area that have got a link to a venue space so that we can do a social there afterwards. So please, if you want to do something in Wrexham, that would be amazing. You can drop me an email and I can support where I can with that one. The run in Cardiff is expected to finish. I think we're going to aim to start at 5. There'll be a 5K route, so it depends on people's paces, but we'll have a various different leaders supporting with different times pace. So I should imagine it would be finished by 6, and then we're going to the Bike Lock Cafe at the end. So we would encourage everybody to stay afterwards. They do some excellent cake there, if anybody's not been. Excellent cake, excellent coffee. So yeah, so we'll be there till about 7:30. So you can stay for as long or as little as you want for that one. The other 2 runs are also linked to, so in Swansea, it should be the Beer Riff in the Marina. So it's a nice tap room there, and also in North Wales, it's the Black Cloak Brewery tap room in Colwyn Bay. So again, some nice beer served there, but also non-alcoholic drinks for those that prefer, as it is a working evening. But yeah, so hopefully that answers all of those questions. If there's nothing else from anybody else, that's all I've got to kind of go through with you tonight. I hope you've found it useful and insightful. I've really enjoyed speaking to you all and for your engagement with the questions. If you've got any feedback on how this session was, please let us know. We can amend things then going forward. But really hope that you're all going to get involved in the campaign, and share this wider amongst your groups and your members. And yeah, so thank you very much, everybody. And a big thanks to Suze from Gwent Police as well for all of her engagement and input into this. And I hope she's not had to be called off to something too stressful while she's on duty. But yeah, all the very best, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. I will stop the recording now.